Welcome back to the Sip to Tally preseason power rankings. Today we're at team number 12. But before we get to team number 12, let's review team number 13, which was the Buffalo Bills. Quarterback 4, running back 7, wide receiver 12, tight end 13, O-line 12, elite offense. Defense 8, linebacker 32, cornerback 20, and safety 30. That made them be 15.3333, which was actually a tie with the Patriots. When you look at the team side by side, the Bills are way better than the Patriots, so that's why they were ranked higher than the Patriots in this case. And again, I always say if it's two teams with the same score, I put them side by side and just use my eye test. I take the statistical stuff out and just the eye test from last year and what I remember, and I'll put one team over the other based off that way. But let's get into team 12. Honestly, I'm going to say team 12 is probably going to be my new second favorite team. And for those that know, when I say this, you'll know who it is. They have my second favorite player on the team too as well. And he recently became the starter for said team. And if you don't know, or if you do know, it's Big Penix energy in ATL right now. The number 12 team is the Atlanta Falcons with Mike Penix at quarterback. Let's get into what they drafted to try to improve their team for 2025 going into the season to kind of mask their deficiencies from last year. All right, let's take a look at it. And there's a pattern here with their picks. They only had 5 picks. Only had 5. They gave up some stuff and got a second first rounder. So in the first round, they got Jalen Walker out of Georgia, one of the premier defensive edge players in college last year. Went back into the first round and picked James Pierce, a risk, but a very explosive defensive end out of Tennessee. Third round, they went Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame, who I really liked. Fourth round, they picked Billy Bowman out of Oklahoma. I liked him too. I want to say Bowman was listed as a linebacker though in the pre-draft process. I think. And then in 7th round, they picked Jack Nelson, offensive tackle, to round out their draft. They didn't have a lot of picks. They had a need and looked like they went after that need at defensive end and safety. And let's see how it plays out in 2025. But now let's get into the position groups and see where I have them ranked and who's in the rooms, and we'll go from there. Starting off with the offense. Huge Mike Penix fan. Been a Mike Penix fan since his first year at Washington, the things he did there, and taking them to the college playoffs and almost winning that thing. Behind him, Kirk Cousins. That's a pretty damn good backup. Honestly, that's a pretty darn good backup. I thought they were going to move Cousins. They didn't. And I should have factored Cousins in more into my quarterback room because I thought they were going to move him, but they didn't. I also like Emory Jones down there as their 4th quarterback, who I felt like should have made Baltimore's roster last year. But running back room, Bijan Robinson. He's one of the best ones out there right now. Can catch it, can run it between the tackles, can run it outside, with a heck of a backup, Tyler Algiers. That 1-2 punch is pretty darn good because Algiers was a starter before Bijan got there. That 1-2 punch is lights the freak out to me. Add Carlos Washington and Elijah Dotson to that room, and I love this running back room. The wide receivers, Drake London, star. Darnell Mooney had a great season last year, and the reason I know this because I had him on one of my fantasy teams, and he just kept consistently racking up points when he played. Ray McLeod was like their gadget guy to kind of do a bunch of different things, and they got Cordell Hodge, who won them a game throughout the season, like in overtime maybe. Casey Washington, Jamal Agnew, Chris Blair, who don't play that much, but from Alcorn, go Braves. And they drafted Nick Nash. They also got a guy that Baltimore had 3 or 4 years ago that I thought was pretty good, but it hadn't turned out to be anything. That's Mekhi Polk. I know we all were wondering what happened to Mekhi Polk after we let him go, but he's in Atlanta trying to make that roster down there. Tight end room. Kyle Pitts has been extremely underwhelming. With all the tools to be an elite tight end in the NFL, he's been extremely, extremely underwhelming, and we just don't know what we're going to get out of him. But the guy also got Charlie Warner and another local guy from around here, Felipe Franks, who played quarterback at Wakulla High School, went to UF and played, and now he's a tight end in Atlanta. Offensive line. Really good offensive line. They lost their center. But they still got a really good offensive line. Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron, replacing their center is Ryan New Zealand. I hope I said that right. Right guard Chris Lindstrom, who's one of the best in the business. And then right tackle Caleb McGarry. That offensive line is good. And if you go back and watch tape of the Falcons and they run outside zone, when I tell you they are in sync, it's like 5 working as 1. And when they run it to the right foot in the same spot. They run it to the left foot in the same spot, the second foot in the same spot. They work well getting up on linebackers, and they do a darn good job up front, man. Their offensive line is beautiful. But let's take a look at where I got them all ranked, and before I keep yapping about their offensive line. Quarterback room, I have them 24. Again, I probably should have put more onus on Kirk being in that room to bump them a little bit higher, but I didn't because we haven't seen a full sample size of Penix. So I now that I think about it, this is probably fair. Running back room, I told you. I love their running back room. Trying to be, unbiased as to wear purple shades all the time, but I love this running back room. I do. And this is our second, if I'm not mistaken, this is our second number 1 of the countdown. Let me check. Yes, this is our second number 1 of the countdown. Wide receiver room, 7. They got a lot of variety. They got some bodies they can throw out there. And with what Penix does throwing the ball down the field, I think it opens up some other stuff. I even think Pitts is going to be better this year. Tight end 24, offensive line 8, and I talked about in detail how I love their offensive line. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball and see what they got going over there. What you see, most of their picks were defensive guys, 2 defensive edges and 2 safeties. So what they got starting, they're 3-14. So you're probably looking at your 3 down linemen, your 2 outside linebackers, your 2 inside linebackers. But again, I put everybody in nickel to try to get a familiarity with every team. But as far as their base stuff, you're looking at nose tackle, Rook or Roro, and I always do the Scooby-Doo sound when I do that, but I'm not going to do it today. David Onyemata and Morgan Fox as their starters. Outside linebacker, Leonard Floyd. The other outside linebacker, probably going to be Jalen Walker. Linebackers themselves. Divine Diablo coming in from Oakland, and Caden Ellis coming back solid. If you don't know, Diablo runs like a 4-4-4-3, so he can fly. That don't necessarily translate when you play linebacker, but they in that dome and he can run around and make plays, on the edges as well. Cornerbacks, AJ Terrell, Mike Hughes, D. Alford. That's not bad. It's not bad. Alford and Terrell needs to play better, but Hughes is a guy that can really, get in there and I ain't gonna say lock down one side of the field, but make them go somewhere else. And then the other guys, Terrell, Alford, and other guys gotta do that. Safety, which is a position they drafted. They got Bates. They got Jesse Bates, who's one of the best in the league to do it. They drafted 2 young guys to see if they can come in and take Fuller's spot, which is Jordan Fuller, but I don't know. Fuller may start, Watts may start, we don't know. But I guess it depends on the health for Watts as well. But that safety room not bad as well, especially with those 2 guys that they drafted to maybe potentially take Fuller's spot, because Bates is one of the ones at the safety position. But let's see where I got them ranked. Defensive line, edge 30. Now, I think their best players eventually will be the 2 guys they drafted on the edge. They need to get better on the inside and stop the run and get some interior pass rush. Linebackers are middle of the pack. Nothing bad to say about them, but not a lot good at all. I just think they're middle of the pack. Cornerback, with the 3 guys that they got up there and the way that they can vary their scheme, I got them at 8. And then safety, I got him at 14, and I'm gonna say Bates is carrying that safety ranking. So you see where I have everybody ranked. What I do is take all those numbers together, add them up, and you can let me know in the comment section whether I have any position rank too high or too low for the Falcons, and we'll talk about it down there. But when you take all those numbers together, add them up, divide them by 9, you get 15.11111, and that's why the Atlanta Falcons are your number 12 team in the SIP to Tally Power Rankings. So this is one of the shocks when I even all this stuff out. Them being at 12 was a extreme shocker to me. I got one more that I think is gonna really shock people too, but I'll let you know when I get there. And so with that being said, man, like the video if you like it, subscribe if you've not done so, hit the bell so you can be notified when the rest of this content drop, comment and share. Again, comment, and I'll get back with y'all, man. So I appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow for team number 11, and we'll roll from there. Peace.